Hey everyone, it's me, Varlo. 2023 was a pretty awesome year for gaming, and I had the privilege of playing so many fun games during it. Something that I used to do back in the day was make a yearly video listing my top 5 favorite games that I played during that year. After a few years of skipping out on it, I really do miss it and want to share what I felt were my top 5 favorite games of this year. It's only February of 2024, so I hope I'm not too late to make something like this. Some things that I think I should make apparent right off the bat is that this isn't an objective best games of 2023 video. I obviously didn't play every single game that was released in 2023, as that's literally impossible. There are also great games that came out that I didn't have the means or time to play. This list is also entirely my opinion. Some of the games that I listed you may have put higher or lower on your own list. Liking different things is okay as long as we're respectful of others. Without further ado, let's get down into what I felt were my top 5 favorite games of 2023. The 5th spot on my list goes to Hogwarts Legacy. I know there was a lot of discourse surrounding this game when it first released, but I'm only looking at it under the lens of the game itself and not the drama surrounding it. I've put a decent amount of time into Hogwarts Legacy so far, and while I haven't had the time to fully finish it, I really have enjoyed every minute I've played so far. This really is the best way to experience the Harry Potter world in a video game. No game that has been released up until now has had the same scope. I really liked that the setting of the game was in a time period that we really haven't seen in this franchise until now. It helped me to see a side of the universe that I've never experienced before. I also think that it's really cool that the protagonist is a self-insert character. It made my adventure feel so much more personal knowing that the protagonist is supposed to be me. I'm excited to continue exploring this game because it's really awesome so far, and I think way more people should be playing it. Out of the 3 big fighting game franchises, Mortal Kombat has always been my favorite. There's something so special about the diverse roster of the series and the flashy finishing moves that always has me wanting more. 2023's Mortal Kombat 1 has been a pretty fun addition to the franchise. I've put countless hours into it thus far, mostly playing the online versus mode. I also played the single player campaign in the seasonal invasions mode, and those have been also really fun. I think all the changes they've made to the formula this time around have been pretty great, and I've been really happy with this game. It's another game that I feel people are giving a way harder time than it deserves. I know the monetization system in the game is pretty bad, but if you just ignore all that stuff, it's a really fun fighting game. To be honest, my major complaint with the game is that the Season Pass content is really being drip-fed to us, which is incredibly annoying, but that's just the unfortunate reality of gaming nowadays. This has been a great game to play with friends, and for that alone, I think it warrants its spot on my list. Back when it launched, I released a first impressions video of it, so if you want to hear more of my thoughts on Mortal Kombat 1, I would check that video out. Of course, Sonic Superstars also had to make an appearance. Sonic is one of my favorite franchises of all time, especially the classic games, so I was stoked to give this one a playthrough. Superstars really is a return to form for the classic Sonic series. I don't think it was as strong of a game as Sonic Mania, but I appreciate it for the game that it ended up being. Since I made my initial first impressions video on the game during launch week, I was able to complete it fully and explore every single nook and cranny of the game. I really had a blast, and this is one of my highest rated Sonic games of all time. I don't think it was necessarily worth $60, but as a game, the quality is incredibly high. I go much more in depth on my thoughts on Sonic Superstars in my first impressions video on it, but I feel like a lot of my opinions still hold true now that I've completed the game. The music and stages are fun, and the physics feel solid. The game also had a surprising difficulty jump during the boss encounters as well, which I appreciated to an extent. The final bosses of all 3 stories are hard as nails, and while I was frustrated at the time, I now appreciate how rewarding those bosses were to overcome. Sonic games can be super hit or miss when it comes to quality, but I'm pleased to say Sonic Superstars is among the higher quality installments. I definitely recommend this game for all Sonic fans and all platformer fans in general. I am counting Xenoblade 3 Future Redeemed as a full game even though it's technically just a DLC. For starters, this is my video so I can make up the rules, but also this DLC has a substantial length that makes it worthy of being called its own game. Xenoblade is my favorite franchise of all time, so this new installment was like a dream come true for me. Seeing Shulk and Rex on screen at once in an epic story was something that I had always dreamed of. I think Future Redeemed has a good balance of fan service, explaining the origins of Xenoblade 3 base game plot points, and setting up the future for what is to come for the series. While it may be a prequel to Xenoblade 3, in a way it felt like a satisfying conclusion to the Klaus saga that we've been following for the better part of a decade. The gameplay is also great here, with many substantial improvements over the original Xenoblade 3. It's incredibly streamlined and gives the player so many different customization options so that they can play how they want to. As with any Xenoblade game, the music is also ass-kicking as well. It also gets a few extra points because of how unexpected its release was. It was supposed to come out later in 2023, but ended up releasing in April to everyone's surprise. The feeling I got when seeing the surprise trailer is completely unmatched. Those memories definitely enhanced my overall thoughts of the game further. The best game that I played in 2023 is The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. This is a game that I have no doubt in my mind is truly a masterpiece. It took everything that was amazing about Breath of the Wild and dialed it up to 11. One of my favorite aspects of Zelda has always been the puzzle solving, and Tears of the Kingdom does not disappoint on that front. With the new runes, there are hundreds of ways to solve any problem that will come your way in your adventure. On top of that, there's an entire new sky region and underground region to explore, which adds so many new layers to the Hyrule that we already know and love. It also fixed my biggest complaint with Breath of the Wild, which was the watered down dungeons. In Tears of the Kingdom, the dungeons are incredibly fun and much closer to how they were in the Zelda games of old. I can't lie when I say that approaching the launch of the game, I really wasn't that hyped. For whatever reason, I didn't really get excited to play it until the final trailer released. After that, something hit me and I knew I was in for one of the best Zelda experiences we've ever seen. As the Switch is seemingly winding down this year as its successor is approaching, I really feel that it's fitting that Tears of the Kingdom was the system's swan song. Out of every single game that I played this year, Tears of the Kingdom blew me away like no other ever could. If you want to try out any game that made it onto my list, this is the one to try. You really are cheating yourself by skipping out on Tears of the Kingdom. And those were my top 5 favorite games of 2023. I really hoped you enjoyed hearing what I had to say about the games that I experienced last year. I encourage you to tell me your favorite games of 2023 down in the comment section. I'd love to hear them. Hopefully 2024 is a great year for gaming as well, with many new and exciting adventures in store for all of us. Thanks so much for watching, I really appreciate it.